Continuing now on a very busy day in Washington, D.C. with Congressman Andy Biggs of Arizona. And in our last segment, you mentioned that this announcement of a pending indictment of President Trump over this document handling question comes on the same day that the revelations of what President Biden was up to when he was vice president during the Obama administration comes through. First of all, you saw this document as a member of the Oversight Committee, did you not, sir?
I did, yes.
So how would you describe what this very credible informant told the FBI? And also, what was the date of this informant's message?
So, Larry, the thing to understand is that this document details several different meetings that the confidential human source had with an individual highly placed in Ukraine, and that individual's name is redacted and their position is redacted. But I want to just get, I don't want to take too long, but I want to give you a summary so you understand that.
No, please
that
take
as
your
you go
time,
through,
sir.
Yeah, so as you go through this, there's really kind of 4 meetings that go on that are reported in this document. The document is dated in 2020, but the incidents and the reporting all takes place during the time that Joe Biden is the vice president. So when you start looking at the first meeting, what you get is the individual who's providing the information, not the source that's reporting this to the FBI, but the actual person who's involved with the Biden family is reporting. He's making statements against interest. That's important to understand. He is admitting that because Burisma wants to get involved in the U.S. With oil and gas companies and raise capital, that he's concerned because Burisma is being investigated by Ukrainian prosecuting general Shokin, and Shokin is investigating Burisma because it looks corrupt. And to deal with that, they admit that they put on someone to deal with the European problems because Europe won't. They can't raise capital in Europe because they're under investigation. And then he's put Hunter Biden on the board of Burisma because he has access to his father, because they've got a problem in the U.S. because they won't be able to raise capital as long as they're under investigation. So he's advised to stay away from the Biden family, but too late. And then the series of meetings goes on, and he admits that he has already paid Hunter. Well, I got to tell you this, Larry, multiple times in here, this guy says Hunter Biden is stupid, but he has his father, and that gives us access to solve our problem. And he said we paid $5 million to Hunter, $5 million to Joe, and he later calls him the big guy. And the deal was Joe was to take care of the Shokin problem. That's the deal. That's the quid pro quo. That's the pay for play. Is you got to take care of Shokin,
right,
so that you'd remove that impediment to raising money.
And then, of course, Congressman, there is corroborating evidence to this tale from none other than Joe Biden himself. He bragged in an open forum about the fact that he went to Ukraine and threatened the president of Ukraine by withholding $1 billion in U.S. aid unless they get rid of this prosecutor Shokin. So Biden is corroborating this scheme on his own.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Biden has basically admitted that he was, first of all, he had no authority to do this, to withhold aid authorized by Congress to give to Ukraine. So he's going to withhold it unless you get rid of Shokin. So it just dovetails right into the allegations made by this person. Yeah. And then the last part I would just tell you is the individual that is engaged in bribery and corruption with the Biden family also admits that after the election, there should be a concern because who knows what's going to happen with the Biden family. But he says it'll take years for the investigators to find the link between me and the Biden family, because ostensibly because of the multitudes of LLCs, the bank accounts that are just a Byzantine web of fraudulent fake bank accounts. So all of this is corroborated, and now there's only one or two pieces of evidence left that you need to tie Joe Biden in.
Your committee chairman, Mr. Comer, actually revealed last month that there were multiple shell companies all set up by Hunter and the president's brother, James Biden, when he became vice president, something like 10 or 15 different LLCs. So when Joe Biden said yesterday, when asked about these charges, when he said, "Where's the money?" he's kind of given a tell there, isn't he? That just like this informant said, it'll take him forever to trace this back because of those shell corporations.
Well, that's right. And by the way, it's more than 24 shell corporations.
24.
And the suspicious activity reports that we were led to believe that there was just a handful of them. Every time we go over, there are now more and more suspicious activity reports. The bank accounts, we've only been able to go through 4 of the 13 banks to trace down all this web of money coming over. And Larry, we're talking right now, you and I are talking about the Ukraine corruption. We haven't talked about the China corruption,
right,
or Romania corruption. And I mean, how does dollars get laundered through and end up in the grandkid of Joe Biden's bank account, thousands and thousands of dollars from, say, a Romanian corrupt public official? So you have all this going on, and the next question that's part of the scandal gets back to what you and I were talking about earlier. Why did the FBI sit on this?
Right.
How 2 weeks ago they were telling us they didn't even have this document.
That's right.
And
they said they didn't have the document.
So
then they said they wouldn't show it to you. Then they finally showed it to you, but only in the skip. This is an unclassified document, by the way. And that's my follow-up question. Is there any indication, sir, that you have seen that the FBI did any investigation into this matter? Because your colleague, Jamie Raskin, said, oh, they investigated it and they dropped it because there was nothing there.
Yeah, well, Raskin has a trouble with the truth. That's for sure. The only, and by the way, he was debunked by none other than Bill Barr immediately. What they did is they got the document, they forwarded it to the U.S. attorney in Delaware, who we don't know if they did anything. So there's no indication whether they.
You don't become the U.S. attorney in Delaware unless you're in bed with the Bidens. That's an open secret in this town. Anybody who's the U.S. attorney out there, they know who runs that state.
Remember who said that? All the spies from the government. That's Larry O'Connor, O-C-O-N-N-E-R. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
O-R. Yeah. So the reality is, yeah, we don't know, Larry. We simply don't know. But I will tell you, we're supposed to get more documents next week. You know what that means? There'll be more indictments of Donald Trump next week.
Yeah, you're probably right. Politically, another one of your colleagues, Nancy Mace, earlier today, said they basically just handed the nomination to Donald Trump. You know, if anything is going to unite the Republican Party, it's something like this. Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, Mike Pence, Tim Scott, they've all come out and said this is outrageous. I think Chris Christie is the only one who said, well, you know, let's see this work itself out. So, I mean, what do you think politically? How does this play for President Trump?
Well, I think it's a mixed bag, actually. I think it does. I think he was going to win the primary nomination anyway, Larry. But I think this kind of locks it in a little bit more even, because we've got to stand together. What you're seeing is an abuse of power for political purposes. That's what's done in authoritarian nations. That's what's done in Venezuela, the former Soviet Union, even in the current Russia, even in former Ukraine. I mean, all of this takes place in corrupt authoritarian nations. That's what you're seeing here. And I think that helps Donald Trump politically. The question is, how does that play for a general election? But
yeah,
you've got to realize that it also, what's going on suppresses the media. I looked at CNN yesterday. They didn't have boo on there about Joe Biden's corruption.
Yeah.
They just don't care. They're going to ignore it and focus on Trump. And that means there's going to be a lot of uninformed people.
I hear you. But honestly, at this point, we're done complaining about CNN and those other networks because they help us out. The more they ignore the real news, Congressman Biggs, the more they come over here. So we're fine with that. We got to leave it there. Thank you, sir, for joining us on a very busy day. Good to know that you're there watching things.
You bet.
That's Andy Biggs, Arizona. There's more to come on O'Connor Tonight. Keep it here at Salem News Channel.